who always used to sing us this lockdown song in order to make the frightening task of hiding behind our desks a little less scary. I am a freshman now, and lockdown tours have been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Yet I wonder, who invented lockdown drills and why? There must be one event that stands out as a turning point in history for the reason why we have to practice these awful drills. So I asked my teacher, and she tells me the story. April 20th, 1999. 911, what's your emergency?
Hello? Yes, I'm a teacher at Columbine High School, Patty Nielsen. There's a student here with a gun. I was outside on hall duty when I saw him, and he pointed straight at us and shot. The window went out, and the kid standing next to me, I think he got hit. There's alarms and smoke. My God, there's smoke coming into this room. I can hear glass shattering and gunshots, and I am in the library. Students down! Under the tables! Kids, heads under the tables! We need police here. He's right outside. On the floor! You guys stay on the floor! Heads under the tables, kids! Heads under the tables! Oh God, can you please hurry?
April 20th, 2024. Hello, my name is Frank DeAngelis, but you can call me Mr. D. Yes, I was the principal of Columbine High School on that fateful day of April 20th, 1999. 25 years ago. Gosh, I remember it like it was yesterday. You know, the day started out beautiful. Clear blue skies, junior prom was just the weekend before. I was in my office when we heard the gunshots. Students and staff members alike sprinted through the hall screaming, "Mr. D, Mr. D." For a few seconds, I thought that it was a senior prank, as we were only a few months away from graduation, but quickly I realized it was real. No one knew what to do, but we had little time to stop and think. All we could do was run and hide. When we made it outside the building, everyone was in shock. I remember how desperate I was to get back into the building, to get to my kids, but no one was allowed in. I remember thinking, this isn't happening. Later, I learned that Columbine High School students Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris entered my school at 11:19 a.m. armed with semi-automatic rifles and pistols when the bombs and explosives they had previously planted didn't go off. And by 11:35, 12 students were killed, along with my dear friend Dave Sanders, a teacher and coach who sacrificed his life for his students. He got into his profession to have an impact on young lives, not to die in an attempt to save them. It is without a doubt that Columbine was a day that forever changed schools. Just look at this image. In 1999, the term mass shooting didn't even exist. And what I didn't realize all of those years ago is that school shootings would become normalized. School after school appearing on the news, 304 school shootings since Columbine. So much has changed since April 20th, 1999, so much that I can confidently say that Columbine was a turning point in history for redefining what it meant to be safe in school. Since Columbine, schools across our nation have implemented new security measures in hope to prevent any future threat, including hiring new security personnel, installing surveillance cameras, and having locked designated entries. Another big change was the introduction of active shooter drills called lockdowns, a monthly drill where students pretend there's an active shooter in their building and take proper precautions like hiding under their desks and locking and barricading doors. Many schools have also adopted new curriculums which support student mental health and prevent bullying in order to induce a more positive school climate. So much change in the past 20 years, but I wonder, is it truly working? Did you know that 2022 was the highest number of school shootings yet? 46 in 1 year. And since Columbine, more than 338,000 students across the U.S. have experienced gun violence. With each tragedy, there's a call to action to create more common sense gun laws, which are laws that ban the sale of military-style assault weapons. Red flag laws have also been adopted, but only in 21 states, which ensure weapons are not obtained by someone deemed risks to themselves or others. I believe what we are doing is not enough. We must do more to end this violence. Every story needs a villain. And for some reason, everyone is always so eager to point their fingers at us, the National Rifle Association. My name is Nana Loesch, and I am a representative of the NRA here to set the story straight. The NRA and our 5 million innocent, law-abiding, gun-carrying members are absolutely not at fault for all of these school shooting tragedies. The NRA is clear in their understanding that evil walks among us, and the only way it can be stopped is to harden our schools, which means teaching teachers how to use firearms and having more armed security personnel stationed around our school buildings. And can we actually look a little closer at the cause of school shootings? Those firearms did not simply walk themselves into the school. There were plenty of warning signs which went ignored by school officials and teachers who could have prevented the tragedy from even happening in the first place. Again, this is not the NRA's fault. We do care, and in fact, we are working with our elected representatives to develop laws for more responsible gun ownership. But let me be crystal clear. The only way to protect us, to protect our children, is to ensure we all have the right under the Second Amendment to carry a firearm. Lock down, let's all hide. Lock the doors and stay inside. Crouch on down, don't make a sound or you'll be found. Me again, still stuck in this lockdown drill. My English teacher just finished telling us that if there was an actual shooter in the building, we'd be jumping out of our classroom window to escape onto the roof of our school. How crazy is that? It is clear to me now that the Columbine High School tragedy was a turning point in history for schools across our nation. But lockdown drills and new security and curriculums are not enough. And I can tell that my classmates are feeling frustrated and a little hopeless, and I get it because I do too, but we can't give up. I know that change always starts with me. So I be a person who has the moral courage to stand up for what's right? Most definitely. Last summer, Congress passed the bipartisan gun control legislation for the first time in 30 years, but it didn't go far enough. Implementing change in the states has always been slow, but one way we can help is to support nonprofit organizations here in Connecticut, which teach about gun violence, like the Sandy Hook Promise Foundation in Connecticut against gun violence. And there is so much we can do at school, too. In fact, my friends and I are going to start a club called the Save Promise Club, which stands for Students Against Violence Everywhere and is sponsored by the Sandy Hook Promise Foundation. We are so excited to get started, but I think a good first step would be to make a sign.
Thank you.
You can ask me questions before I start.
Was there anything that struck you as unusual when you were going through all of this?
I think something that struck me a lot was how many school shootings there have been since Columbine, and almost how, especially like now, as of like 2 weeks ago, when the laws were passed to give teachers the right to bear arms in Iowa and Tennessee, how we're kind of taking more steps backwards than forwards. So that was pretty shocking to me.
In your research, how much did you get into the warning signs that you were referencing with regard to the two individuals at Columbine?
Yeah, there were definitely, there were obviously a lot of warning signs with Dylan and Eric that people didn't really pick up on at the time, because who would have ever thought that something like this would emerge from that? But I didn't really research that much, but websites about warning signs, and I kind of touched on that a little bit, but not a lot. Yeah.
In the course of your research, did you come across Wally Lamb's book on Columbine?
I read Dave Culling's book, but not that.
Okay. Wally Lamb, the Connecticut author, he has a fictional book that touches on